What's up, guys? Welcome to the Divij podcast. We got a very special guest today. I'm very hyped for this one because this dude and I, actually first time ever meeting kind of face to face, but I know a lot about this dude, and I think everyone here, including myself, is going to learn a lot, especially about kind of the business of this wild thing we called entertainment. So we got the founder of Lips Management LA, as well as the host of the Lips Service podcast. He does a lot of other cool shit. Scott Lips is in the building, kind of.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, brother?
I'm in the virtual building, right?
The virtual building. We just found out that we're neighbors, which is very exciting.
Yeah, which is weird because we could have just done this like on our floor
on
or
our rooftop.
But,
Well, no, man, it's so great to meet you. Very hyped to have you on. I want to kind of get into it because I know we both got shit to do and we don't want to be here for longer than we need to. So you're from New York, right?
I am. I grew up on Long Island.
Amazing. And it's your birthday in the next 2 weeks.
It's my birthday soon. Yeah, I'm actually going to have a big bash. We don't really want to disclose the location, but
yeah,
we're going to be opening up a new hotel in Hollywood, and it'll be the rooftop. And I think people are kind of ready to get out there and be social again. So I'm excited to see all my friends. Hopefully everyone's, either vaccinated or tested and everyone's safe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely important. But so you're a Leo.
I'm a Leo.
Yeah, bro. I'm August 12th. You know the vibes.
Nice.
Leo
right.
vibes.
Might be why we get along.
Yeah.
We're trying to do some business together. I think we will. We're getting there. We're getting close. So
yeah, we're jumping right to the bigger deals too. I think we'll get some shit done for sure.
Cool.
So so you're from New York. I did some research, and you the way you it seemed like your upbringing, or the way that you kind of started your career, at least not upbringing, but was in the music space. Can you talk kind of about how Scott Lips started as a human?
Sure. I grew up on Long Island. I moved out to LA when I was 17. I started playing music at an early age, like 8 years old. I started playing drums. And then I told my parents I'd been playing clubs and stuff like that in New York. Nothing on a crazy level, but when you're 15 and sneaking into rock clubs, it's still like a life that you didn't expect. I mean, I was definitely hiding out in the basements of like clubs in Brooklyn and playing music, acting like I was 22 so I could get in and play rock and roll. And so that was always my path in life. I knew what I wanted to do at a very young age. Moved out to LA at 16, 17. I told my parents I wanted to go to music school. I said I wanted to go to PIT. And my dad's like, oh, you want to go to the Pittsburgh Institute of Technology? That's great. You want to be a scientist? I'm like, actually, I want to move to LA and be a rock star, Dad. I'm going to the Percussion Institute of Technology. I'm going to be a drummer. Moved out to LA, went to music school, joined a band that was part of the Guns N' Roses family, in the sense my singer was in a band called LA Guns.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the two bands that became Guns N' Roses. So the band was called Black Cherry, had some great times, played with Guns N' Roses to Iggy Pop to Jane's Addiction, a lot of great bands. Did well out here, one of the bigger bands in that scene. Probably like super late 80s, early 90s. Had an injury to my arm, started working in entertainment. My cousin owned a model agency at the time, and my mother was like, listen, if you're not going to work on the business end of music and you're not going to play for right now because your arm's not better, maybe call your cousin and you can get a job there. And I actually started out as a driver. I used to drive people around pre-Uber. Talent would come to LA, whether they be actors, models, or whoever it would be. And, people couldn't get to castings without a car. And for the people that were from Europe or didn't have a driver's license or whoever it was, like I literally was the driver, which is ironic because I kind of hate driving.
Yeah.
But and I would never be a driver now. So it's just I'm not a great driver. So it's weird that a guy who's not a great driver was like a driver as a start in this business. But started like that. And I worked my way up. I got into it. I was like, listen, I'm not into like, let's say modeling per se. It wasn't really a passion of mine, but my passion was for forming, trying to build an entertainment entity. So, and I looked around me and I didn't see a lot of agencies at that time that had like fashion, film, and music all combined. So fast forward, I became an agent after a couple of years. I started an agency in New York called One Management, 2001. It's been open for many years. Moved out to LA about 4 years ago and started Lips LA. And here we are. And I represent a lot of celebrities, a lot of influencers. I think in the fashion modeling space, I was the first one to represent influencers or have a division for that. Mm-hmm. People were not, thinking that was the greatest thing back then. They were like, oh, this is stupid. It's not fashion. I mean, what are you going to do? Charge people for a post? I'm like,
right.
I think so. It seemed to work out pretty well for other people in this world. So I think it was definitely the right decision. But at the time, people were not looking at it like it was something that was a viable, business. And if we look at, so many celebrities and the businesses and the brands they built because of it, I think it's maybe more viable now than just straight ahead fashion and modeling. So it's interesting.
Yeah, dude, it's such a cool story. I mean, I have a lot of questions for you. So
And
kind of
along the way, I was going to say one
yeah,
other, I was going to say along the way, I also started working with a lot of celebrities for branding. So work with a lot of people like A$AP Rocky to I know tons of other celebrities along the way. Courtney Love, who I also play drums with now, and have been in her band for about 10 years.
yeah,
So yeah, I worked on a lot of the celebrity branding early on in the fashion modeling space when a lot of other people weren't doing that either. So I've always tried to forge ahead and, try to be an innovator in my industry. And I listen, I love the fashion modeling industry, but I also love, the entertainment aspect of that business. So that
yeah.
was really the thing that was appealing to me.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's crazy. And for those of you guys listening, go check out his company's website. It's lips.la. So you guys can kind of reference what he's kind of referring to. So what's crazy, bro, is I feel like when you say you seem like almost a pioneer in this space, and I'm 24. So we started our company like a year and a half ago. And I think I'm early. Like, I think I'm early with what I'm doing. But to think that you've been doing this since '01, like, bro,
Yeah,
that's
I guess I was like 27 when I started.
I was 5.
I definitely just saw a need in the business to sort of bring in different elements. And at that point, I mean, also, if you think about it, I think the modeling industry has been around since like the 70s, right? So
Yeah.
things really hadn't changed much. Still, there were still agencies up until 10 years ago that didn't have like websites. I was like, it's crazy. We're living in the digital age. So I wouldn't say the most forward thinking, in that respect, that a lot of people in the business really are old school and they never want change. But I don't know. I always love tech. Even now I'm doing a lot of things that, in the tech space. I'm dabbling in a few different things that seem to be going well. So that's it for me. It's just, how do you combine all these things and make it something innovative? But listen, 24 is great. I mean, that's the age. It's that people are starting companies out like 13. You see like Shark Tank and the people. Yeah, I started my first company at 11 and I made my first exit at 14. Or that might be a Clubhouse reference,
Bro.
but yeah, I think you and I might have met on Clubhouse.
We did,
right?
yeah. So I want to get into that platform, but I want to kind of chat about One Management. Like, what were kind of the early days of One Management? What were some of the highlights of what you were doing there?
Initially, I just started working. I wanted to really brand people, so I started working with a lot of supermodels back then that were already branded and just trying to expand on their brand. So I worked with like Naomi Campbell, Ava Herzegovina, Helena Christensen, Aman, Claudia Schiffer, just some iconic, incredible women, and definitely early in the careers of people like Arena Shayk and Candace Swanepoel, and just I mean, we had so many amazing people that came through the doors. I also, for a brief period of time, had a management company in LA. We managed actors with a partner of mine, and we had people like Jennifer Lawrence and Gal Gadot, and so I've had so many incredible people come through the ranks of the company over the years that. Yeah, I mean, you just never know who's going to make it and who's. I mean, you have to, put your faith in everyone. But it's strange, and life works in a strange way that there's all these other factors that have nothing to do with you. It's luck, it's timing, it's just the universe, right? So sometimes you can't really control who makes it and who doesn't, but you can just push people and really work hard for them. But it's interesting to see who really popped in the last 20 or so years.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. I heard Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, that's a stacked list of names. I mean, it's crazy. Now, okay, so you go from One Management, you come to LA. What kind of like caused that move, and what inspired Lips?
I just, I had partners there. I just decided to move to LA and kind of give LA a go and trying to recreate what I was doing in New York and LA. And I mean, I just also saw like a lot of the influencers lived in LA, a lot of the celebrities lived in LA. So from a talent perspective, it seemed to me that this was the place to be, dealing with talent. A lot of the clients and the deals I was doing and still do are out of New York. So ultimately for me, I think it's about being bi-coastal. I'm sort of bi-coastal. I was very much bi-coastal. The first year I lived in LA, I was doing like 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. That gets a bit exhausting. Plus, which I have a dog, and I think he might hate me at this point. But I try and go back and forth as much as possible. I find that a lot of my bigger deals do emanate out of New York. And again, from the town, this because you're in the same business. So, all the celebrities and all the influencers live here. Whenever I break downs or jobs and people are like, hey, we're doing something in New York, like I probably have 5 people that live there from the celebrity and talent roster, and 85% of them live in LA. So
it made sense. Yeah. Now
it made sense.
The name Lips LA, your real last name is Lips?
It is. I mean, I think 100 years ago was something else, something weird. It could have been Lipschitz. I don't know. Maybe I'm related to Ralph Lauren.
Maybe.
I have no idea. But someone in my family changed it, I think, as I said, probably 100 years ago. But it's been generations like this. My name's been this for years. So
yeah, no, that's amazing. Okay, so Lips LA. Well, you seem like you're just very good at connecting, right? Like if you go through the roster on the Lips LA website, I mean, you've got DaBaby, Kehlani, you've got Meek Mill, you've got all these crazy people on there. How do you form these relationships with these like mega celebrities, mega talents? And like, I mean, yeah, like how do you do it?
Well, so early on, I did some really strategic deals, and we had deals with different record labels where it was sort of like an unspoken partnership for years. And so I work with a lot of their rosters. So some of the celebrities I work with, I talk to, on a weekly basis. If there's something going on, I'm very close to them. And some of them, it's really about dealing with their teams. I think their teams know that we're going to bring them deals. And so it's just about finding opportunities. And the musicians, especially now, as they're looking for opportunities, and everyone's sort of just looking for deal flow, especially in the last 2 years without them being able to tour, right? This has been like the main revenue for a lot of these artists where, touring was let's say was 80% of their revenue before. Now brand deals in the last 2 years have become like a really big part of things, as they have been, but now even more so when they couldn't tour. So, there's certain artists that I'm super close with. They could be Courtney Love. It could be, I don't know, Brandon Boyd from Incubus or Ross Butler. Or there's a handful of people I'm super tight with. And there's a bunch that I deal with their teams like on a weekly or monthly basis.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, for sure. Cause we work with a lot of we do like 6ix9ine and people like that. And we're always obviously coordinating with the team. So you're not actually directly speaking to the talent necessarily, but
yeah, it just depends. I mean, it's case by case, but every case is different in terms of who I deal with.
Totally. What are some of the, your favorite deals that you've put together?
God, there's been so many. I mean, I was really proud of, seeing where A$AP Rocky has gone with his career. He's an incredible hustler. Like he's super charismatic, just so talented. He did a lot of the stuff on his own, but I was super happy to be part of that process early on with him. Like working on his first Vogue cover to some of his first early fashion deals for like Donna Karan to Ferragamo to things like that. And then seeing where he's, built his brand in the last, 10 years. It's been incredible. Yeah. So that was a great story to be a part of. And, even people like Courtney, who I play drums with, I mean, she's had an incredible fashion career. So we've done everything from Gucci fragrances with her to Marc Jacobs to YSL to numerous, she's such a fashion icon, but also just to see her fashion career take shape the way it has and rightly so. I mean, she's well deserving of it. So yeah, a bunch of stories like that I think I've been part of. And obviously all the supermodels I work with over the years, and just it's been great. The most gratifying part of my business is when you can help people do well. I don't think it's a celebrity so much that needed that, but there's certain influencers I work with in the beginning, and to see how they built these great brands to obviously some of the supermodels and whatnot. So yeah.
It seems like fashion is a pretty big part of what you're doing. What are some brands that you like to kind of wear, that you're like into, or up and coming brands that you think are gonna kind of pop?
Yeah, I mean, fashion's a huge part because that's one for many years now. I'm like I said, I'm dabbling in all these different things, but primarily I think the roots of the company, both companies, are fashion. I like this brand called Save Khaki. It's a friend of mine's brand out of New York. There's a couple of stores in LA. Couple stores in New York. It's great basics. It's just what I wear. So it's sort of like, I like Common Projects, obviously, great sneakers. I think I wear like 70% Save Khaki. I'm always a fan of All Saints. I mean, again, I think for guys, like you can go super high end and go Dior, and YSL probably makes the best like leather jackets and some of the best clothes, but I don't know if everybody wants to drop $7,000 on a leather jacket. I mean, I certainly don't. So yeah, I'm into their clothes, but I would say I wear mostly things like Save Khaki and All Saints, and I have my staples, and I tend to wear the same things. I'm like a black T-shirt and jeans kind of guy when I go out. There's a brand called Thursday's Boots that I work with a lot, and I like their boots a lot. And they also have a brand called Nothing New. I wear their sneakers. So yeah,
that's fire, bro. That's fire. That's kind of that like Mark Zuckerberg vibe of like wearing the same shit.
But yeah, I mean, I mix it up, but I don't have, I don't wear like a ton of like different colors and, patterns. Right. And I'd say I'm,
pretty chill. Yeah, no, that's fire.
I think whatever you're wearing looks like what I'm wearing. So, bro, we got the man jewelry on, you got the necklace on, you got the black T-shirt. Don't wear a lot of baseball caps, but it seems like from a clothing perspective, from what I can see, it looks like we dress fairly similar.
Probably. So. I'm a big like watch guy. So like I'll do a $5 T-shirt, $10 jeans, and then like, spice it up with the rolly or whatever.
Nice.
Fire, bro. Okay, cool. So Lips. You've also got Lip Service, obviously, which is massive podcast. You've interviewed some obviously crazy people. Tyler Yahweh. I think you did G-Eazy. Yep. Who has been the wildest interview that has kind of like come to life?
Yeah, I mean, I always love this story. I mean, I had the pleasure of interviewing David Lee Roth from Van Halen a couple of years ago, and he's just on another level. I mean, he was on Joe Rogan a few times in the last couple of years. You should check it out. Even on my show. I mean, it's just another level of consciousness. Like you can kind of follow where he's going, but you can't. I mean, if you ask him a question, it takes such a turn. Like after a certain point, you get lost in the conversation. And I mean, I could go into my whole David Lee Roth imitation and
can we please see
how the conversation went, but it's a wild ride. I mean, if you have like an hour and a half to spare and maybe get lost in something that's incredibly hard to follow, but from one of the most iconic rock singers from the 80s. I mean, at that point when I was growing up, there wasn't a cooler rock and roll singer than David Lee Roth. I mean, he was the epitome of cool. So, and Van Halen is still, one of the biggest names ever in like rock and roll. So that was great. Good friends with Anthony Kiedis from the Chili Peppers. I thought that was a great interview.
That's huge.
We have that connection. I think for the show, and I guess we should mention Spin Magazine is behind the show. So I get to interview a lot of iconic people this week. I have Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac coming up, which I'm super excited about.
Crazy.
Just incredible names. And I think it's almost that musician to musician conversation that makes it a little bit more relatable for them. And I don't know. I feel like half of them don't really want to be interviewed by like journalists. So if they think there's a common thread and they know that we're both musicians and, I've been on tour and I've lived that life. I think there's something that's more interesting because it's like, all right, well, this isn't, this person isn't out to get me. It's really about just a conversation with a friend, maybe about music, maybe about diving into something deeper. And so the show's been great. I've been doing it 3 years. It's on all the platforms. I'm very excited to have the partnership with Spin now. Got amazing guests coming up. We have some great plans. We have some live performances coming up on the show. We've done a few already. We have a couple more acts that are going to be playing live on the show. And then I don't even know if I can talk about it, but I think there's some events we'll be doing with Spin coming up soon too. So that's sort of a little bit of an exclusive, but it's not the cat's not out of the bag on what we're doing yet. But yeah.
Dude, that's amazing, bro. That is really awesome. And you're like, I remember before I even knew who you were, I was like searching through Spotify and you came up on like the top 100 spot. Like,
amazing. Yeah. I mean, the show was like trending top 25 on Spotify music interviews not long ago. So, as you know, it's so hard. There's 2 million plus podcasts now. So if anybody downloads the podcast, I'm like, thank God, right?
Yeah.
How do you stand out in a sea of 2 million people? So I'm super thankful and grateful for everyone tuning in. The press has been great. I think because Spin has really been behind it. So they've been pushing out a lot of the articles about it. And so like anything, I think if you build it, they'll come, right? I think there's certain episodes we get that catch fire and, there's certain videos on YouTube that have over 100,000 views and certain ones that don't. I don't really know why certain ones do and why they don't. It's still something I'm wrapping my head around the algorithm. It's something you and I can probably talk offline about on the roof of where we live sometime. But I'm always kind of diving deep to see why that is and sort of the mystery behind how things go viral. It's still a conversation I'm still yet to figure out.
Yes.
But,
you and me both, bro. I've been posting videos on my own channel on YouTube for 3.5 years, and the highest viewed video is 12,000. So I'm like, what is it going to take for something to fucking blow up?
Well, it's weird. There's everyone always asks me, like, there's no secret sauce, as you know, like we both don't know. I mean, I always tell this story, like the first day I joined TikTok, which I feel like I'm not the demographic for TikTok. I'm probably skewing a little bit older. I'm on it, and I think it's fascinating and it's an incredible tool, right? And I have a ton of clients on it, but I'm not like actively posting now. I have a team that's helping me a little bit with the podcast, and we're posting a lot on the lip service like account on TikTok. But when I first got on it, I had no followers, and I was at some party, and Justin Bieber and Kylie Jenner were there, and Justin Bieber was singing, and whatever. I just took a video and I posted it, and I didn't have a follower. And I think that video got 4 or 5 million, plays. And so, but then there's other videos I put up that have like, 500 or 300. And I'm always like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Clearly I didn't have the audience to push it out to when I started because I didn't have a follower. So it's fascinating to me how they kind of push things out there, right? Because they obviously like find what they like, or there's got to be people sitting in these cubicles that are like, all right, Bieber, Kylie Jenner, let's push this out.
Right.
But I didn't have an audience. I had no followers at the time. So interesting how that all takes shape. So again, I can't put them on my Instagram every day because I'm not really friends with them, to be honest. So it's not like I'm trailing around Bieber and Kylie Jenner just so I can get some TikTok videos. But fascinating how that works, right? Still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, no, definitely trying to figure it out, bro. Like I think it's just timing too. Like I remember, do you know Mr. Beast?
Yeah,
YouTuber?
I mean, that's another fascinating story. I hadn't actually known who he was up until about a year ago. And so that whole phenomenon and his burger chain, and it's great. And it's a great business model for what you and I do. these are all great case studies and great things to learn from. So I'm always, reading up on that stuff and trying to find clients that I have that could fit that model.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. And I want to talk about Mr. Beast and like some YouTuber stuff. How do you feel about kind of rewinding a little bit and going back into kind of lips? What we do at our company is obviously brand partnerships, right? So brands come to us, they want to connect with biggest talent in the world. We put it together. And it seems like YouTube is the platform that brands are kind of leaning into just for conversions. People are watching the channels because they know the influencers and they're probably going to buy from them. So how do you see kind of the influencer brand partnership space right now, and where do you think it's headed in terms of platform like Twitch, LinkedIn, yada, yada?
Sure. I mean, I don't think that Instagram is going away anytime soon. And there was talk about a couple of years ago, there's going to be less deals on Instagram. I mean, I still find most of my deal flow on Instagram. There was a brief period of about a month, a couple months ago, where everyone was like Clubhouse deals. Like I didn't get any Clubhouse deals. I met you through Clubhouse. So that's great, and I met a few other people. A guy that I work with now on my podcast, I met through there. So I made some great connections. I also feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but now that the world is semi-opened up, who wants to be on Clubhouse 8 hours a day from their house? Like, not me.
No, I haven't even looked at it. Yeah.
I was into it at the time. We were stuck at home, right? But now I feel like when things are open up, people want to be out there exploring and living life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I never got in deep in the YouTube space. So for me, like I really never had a ton of deal flow because I don't represent a lot of YouTubers. Most of the people I represent are like fashion influencers or musicians or, maybe a few actors, obviously models. So huge space. I don't see YouTube going away anytime soon either. I think, and again, deal flow wise, Twitter, very minuscule portion of my business. I've done a few deals on Twitter. Never done a LinkedIn deal. I think you asked that. Are there LinkedIn influencer deals? I've never seen one. I don't know. Maybe there are. I don't know. Maybe Snapchat have done a couple deals, but primarily it's been just IG and just traditional, fashion and campaigns and things like that over the years.
Got it. No, totally, man. I think LinkedIn will be a thing, like LinkedIn influencers, like business people. Like,
yeah, I feel there's influencers for everything, right? It's like, there's like a fisherman influencer, there's a tennis influencer. There's like, people always ask me, well, in fact, I was working on something, I think, was it with you guys recently where you were like, do you have any college athletes?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many different sections of this world, right? That it's like, and there's agencies that all they do, they have like one person that works on college athletes and one person that works on chefs. And like, I mean, I'm still like mom and pop in the sense that we have like 8 or 9 employees. So I don't have like 85 agents that'll each work in a separate category. So my lane is really that, right? It's like fashion, music, celebrity, pop stars, rock stars, hip hop stars, like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many different, what I am finding a lot in this world, and it too, obviously, is that people want people with a story. So if it's a model, they love a model that has a point of view. Maybe she has a platform, maybe she's a chef, maybe whatever it may be. But I think it's more interesting now, and people and clients, especially like yourself, are looking for people with stories. Yeah. So when we're signing people, it's always a bit more enticing for us when there's someone that has, like I said, a story going on and something to say where, it's something that we can really kind of help, build on that brand.
Yeah. No, story is huge, bro. I mean, 100%. And what's crazy, bro, is like, I used to work in the corporate world and private equity, and I was making good money, like 6 figures. And then I came into this space.
Why'd you leave that to come to this?
Well, let me tell you. And the literally best decision. Well, I got fired from that job.
Oh.
But I mean, it's like that 6-figure salary. Like we can make that. You can make that in a day in this industry, bro. And and what I saw was like clients, like these YouTubers and Instagrammers are getting like $70,000-$80,000 for an Instagram story.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's fucking crazy. And for you and I to kind of be a part of that in kind of a non-traditional sense, almost like, see, and what I'm kind of getting at is the larger agencies, right? Like the CAAs, WMEs, UTAs. I think we all work with them. Yeah. But it's such a like it's almost, to me, it's like that's such an old model. Whereas they, why would influencers want to work with their agent at UTA who's going to upcharge fucking 150%, 200% when they can come to us, get a little more, you know what I mean? Like, so what are your thoughts on the bigger agencies?
Well, I mean, they serve a great purpose. I mean, ultimately, like you and I were working on this deal yesterday, and like, look, I'm on it, right? So like, I'm hungry. I want to get these deals done. I want to bring the celebrities deals. And so it's not the kind of thing where you email me and you hear back me 2 weeks later. Like you and I are texting, emailing, you text me or you email me like 3 minutes later, I'm getting back to you. Yeah. I'm usually out and about. So I was somewhere obviously I don't have access to my computer when I'm with me 24/7, like running around the city. And you're like, who else do you have for this thing? And I sent you back 6 suggestions like within a minute, right?
Quick.
Like, I don't know. I think there's a desire. Like, I've always been hustling in this business. I never sort of wait for the phone to ring. I always get out there and try and make things happen, especially for my clients, because at the end of the day, we work for them, right? So I think that's the difference. Like, are you proactive or are you waiting for the phone to ring? A lot of the big agencies, God bless them, they've served an incredible purpose and they've done great. But, you know, a lot of them have phone operators there. Like, it's not that hard to do business when the phone just rings and you're like, is so-and-so available for X amount of dollars? It's like, you're literally like a phone operator. Like, that's never been the case with me. I've always tried to go out there and make deals. And part of my skill set, I would think, is networking. So you're right. I know like a million people, celebrities, influencers, models, whoever it may be, clients, right? So I'm out there always trying to see like what deals I can do with people, putting things together. You and I, as a perfect example, met over Clubhouse. Now we're working on some deals together, right? So if I didn't have that drive to like pursue things with you, if I was an agent and maybe one of these like huge agencies and you hit me up, maybe you'd hear back from me, maybe you wouldn't, right? Like every lead I get that I see there can be business and people that I like and I want to work with, I chase it down because, you know, the minute I stop being hungry, like I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, 100%. What motivates you? Because you've been doing this for a minute. Like what's kind of
more than a minute, I think.
A lot of minutes, hundreds and thousands of minutes. But what kind of like keeps that drive going? Because I think we all have days where we're like, fuck, like I don't want to do shit today. Like what?
Well, I mean, listen, there's definitely things. There's definitely days where I get tired of it because I've been doing it for so many years and I've had 2 different companies now. Many people work for me and represented tons of talent. So in a way, like I do love to bring in the big deals, do the biggest deals and deal with the best clients, but also like I also want to get it to the point where it kind of I'm there, I'm supportive, I'm bringing in the deals, but I'm not dealing with every minutia of the business because that gets hard, right? I think anyone that has a business can relate to that as an entrepreneur. Like, people call you like, hey, my 401k plan, like I need to like readjust it. I'm like, I don't know, like when did I become the expert on the 401k plans? Like, I don't really know. It's not really my expertise, but I have people that can help me with that. So I think it's just, I think what motivates me is just really trying to build businesses and, look, I think ultimately like you build these things to expand or sell at this point or have an exit or partner up with people. So you build them with the intention of doing something bigger, right? I've never been content with just staying the size that I've been in something like this. So I'm always just trying to see where I can take it. And nothing's changed from when I started from day one with that intent.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. That's so awesome. I have a question. So it just came out yesterday, or we released it, I think, last week, that I just did a show called F-Boy Island on HBO Max, and they just dropped the project. What are your thoughts on reality?
You're on a show?
Yeah. It's called F-Boy Island, like fuckboy.
Oh, and you're on the show?
Yeah. Part of the cast. Nice. HBO Max, July 29th. Go check it out. Big shouts to the entire cast.
I didn't get the call for that show.
Are you a fuckboy or a nice guy?
No. I'm just joking. I don't even know. I actually don't even know what that is. I mean, I always make jokes with people. I'm like, because it's like my Larry David humor kicking in. I'm like, what is that? I don't want to digress. By the way, I want to talk about your show for 2 seconds. People always say to me, like, I have clients, I'm friends with them, like, hey, I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, are you texting them, or when you say talking, does that mean you're dating them? Or I never know what that terminology means. So there's like different terms, that being one of them. And I never it's a little bit out of my wheelbarrow. Like, I have an idea what it means, obviously, but the true meaning, I'm not quite sure.
I think we're all trying to figure it out, but I think it means like disloyal, maybe, or like you just have like multiple women, or
like a player. Is that what it means?
Like a player.
Right. Okay.
Right. Are you a player, Scott?
No, actually, I was, I dated someone for like 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I actually prefer to be in relationships. I don't know. That's just my vibe. I mean, I think it's very hard meeting incredible people in LA, and I prefer people that I meet in New York. I always have. So
yeah. No, New York is amazing. So on the show, what I was going to ask you is like, what are your thoughts on reality TV stars and kind of like, because I feel like reality stars, once you do a show and you become big off that show, you kind of are known as like you're the reality TV guy. Like, how do you transition out of that? Or what are your thoughts on reality TV stars in the space of like celebrities?
I mean, over the years, I've actually, my company, or I've done a few things like The City, which was part of The Hills, and I did another show called Scouted. I mean, I think reality TV is great to build brands if that's your lane and that's what you want to do. I have not really represented a lot of reality stars. Again, you would know too. There's just different different set of clients, right? It's like more commercial, maybe not fashion based. I mean, you don't see a lot of reality stars in like fashion campaigns.
No.
I mean, maybe that could change. I haven't seen it. So I think, there's a lane for it, and it's great for building commercial brands. I mean, if you look at Bethany Frankel and the brand she built with her, what does she have? That skinny, what does she have? Like Skinny Confidential or Skinny Vodka or whatever it is. I don't know. Certain people have done incredible through it. I mean, there's incredible like entrepreneurs on Shark Tank, which is a show that I love. I don't know if that's not really reality TV, but I think their brands have become even so much bigger because of that show. So television is an incredible medium. We don't represent any reality stars. And again, there's definitely a lane for it, but it's a different set of clients. So I think it's good. Listen, depending on what you're trying to achieve,
Totally. It depends on the goals. And you were on a show, right? On E called Scouted?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was on a show called Scouted some years ago. And then also The City, which was part of The Hills. And it was cool. I mean, again, like, I'm not into drama and I didn't want to be part of anything that was like too drama involved and not really building the brand. So I kind of shied away from anything that entailed that. And I think that a lot of people would sort of move towards that. But once I saw that happening in those shows, I'm like, it's not really my vibe. I'm trying to build business. I don't want someone throwing a chair at me or getting an argument with someone on TV, like not my thing, because I don't really do it in real life. So why would I do it like on a show?
Yeah. I get the vibe from you that you're very, and this is a good thing. And because I feel like I'm kind of, I want to be this way, is like almost like no bullshit. Like let's get it done. Let's move on kind of situation.
Yeah. I'm a New Yorker, bro. That's the way we work, like I don't, who has time to bullshit? Not me.
Has that helped you in LA? Because I feel like LA, it's like people want to bullshit.
I'm not into that. I think New Yorkers I think I really take pride in the fact that I'm from the East Coast and we are like no bullshit. And so, I am who I am and we are who we are and we work hard. And I think we give that no bullshit like approach to business too. And I think my team is really honest. Yeah. There's not a lot of honesty in my business. I think we treat people the way we want to be treated. I always treat people the way I want to be treated, which was, respect.
That's amazing. No, I love that. I aspire to be more like that, but I also like the bullshit. It's probably just
it's never been my thing, but I mean, that's why I spend a lot of time in New York. I need to feel the realness of what goes on in the streets of New York and that connection with people that I think New Yorkers do have, there's a truth to New Yorkers are pretty legit in that sense, right? I mean, I'm not going to blow people up with a bunch of information about my company or the clients we represent if it's not accurate. Why? Because then at the end of the day, people always find out if you're like a fraud. And so that's not where I come from,
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
I'm not saying you are, by the way. I'm just saying like, it's just not my thing.
No, for sure. I've done some time in New York and it's a lot, bro. If it's just people are moving too fast. Like I got antsy. I was like, slow down.
Well, and unfortunately, when you come out to LA, you have that thing where you can sort of settle into that. I don't want to say laziness, but I don't know if the drive is the same when you're out here because the sun's shining, people are by the pool.
It's true.
I would say at least 60% of the people I meet out here, I don't know what they do for a living, which is not great. I don't ever want to fall into that. And I think that's why I need to connect with New York as much as I do, because I feel like going back there, it keeps me grounded. And I see everyone hustling, and I think I hustle even more when I'm there. It's not uncommon for me to be in New York, and every hour of the day I have like meetings or something going on, and you can't really do 8 or 9 meetings a day in LA between driving and people flaking out on you and just people that are not that motivated. How do you do that? So I miss that, and so I feel like I need that to keep myself motivated too.
Yeah, no, LA kind of slows you down. Do you think you could make your way back out to New York?
I think I'm going to be bi-coastal next year. That's kind of what I decided. I mean, I'm already a little bit bi-coastal now that the world is opening up. I realize how much I miss New York. And I wouldn't mind, instead of like 20-30% of the time in New York and the rest in LA, I think I'm going to divvy that up a little bit more.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So you wrote a book, Pop Lips +1.
Yeah, it's not. I actually didn't write it. It's more pictures. It's sort of like the story of my life and photos. And it was there's like early photos of there when I met people like A$AP Rocky, like the first day I met him, to like my behind the scenes life on tour with Courtney Love, to a lot of the incredible talent I worked with over the years. And so it's more like a photo journal. I did a blog many years ago that was kind of popular because when Tumblr was a thing, it's not a thing anymore, I don't think. And I basically took all the pictures from that and put it on, in this book. And it was definitely an extensive project to put together, but I'm really happy when I look back on it now and I can see all those memories. It's great. And it was great. It had some great press. I mean, it's not easy making a lot of money with a book. So I think if you do it, it has to be like a passion project. But it's an incredible piece to like just sit with and, share with people sometimes. And again, the memories that I went through and lived through those years, it's great. It's a great, snapshot of my life.
Yeah. I feel like you definitely have you probably have like a lot of cool stories with like crazy people. Yeah.
More stories than we have. We have less than a minute, it looks like. So
yeah, no,
I'm running out of time for my stories.
I know. No, well, let's definitely chat over cigars or something and chop it up. But yo, last question for you is what's next for Scott Lips, man? What's next in your life?
I'm doing a little bit in the NFT space. I'm doing a little bit in the tech space. The company keeps growing. I'm really excited about where the podcast space is going. Check out the podcast if you can. Lip service on all platforms. And I guess you'll have to see there's some cool things going on. So can't give away all the secrets, but like I said, dabbling in the tech space with a couple of projects that have coming out. I'm always trying to innovate and break new ground in what I'm doing. So keep on the lookout for it. As much as I'd love to give away everything, that's about 70% of what I'm doing. So
that's amazing, bro. Well, I'm excited to see what you got going on moving forward, and I know we're gonna do a lot of business together. So 100%. This is Scott Lips. Scott, if they don't already follow you, where can they find you?
Just on Instagram at Scott Lips. The company is at Lips LA on Instagram. The website is lips.la, and then the podcast, like I said, Lip Service on Spotify, on iTunes, all the platforms where you get podcasts.
My guy, thank you so much, bro.
We'll chop it up on the roof, right?
Yes, absolutely. Come knock on your door.
All right, sounds good.
All right, bro.
Good
pleasure.
To see you.
Talk soon.
Well, I'll talk to you later today, maybe about these deals.
Yes, we'll get some shit done, bro. I need 100,000.
Sounds good.
All right, brother.
Speak to you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Yo, so that was Scott Lips, man. Scott Lips has definitely done a lot of cool shit, from fucking traveling to the brand deals to the partnerships. ASAP Rocky, he's done a lot of amazing stuff. So definitely excited to have had him on the podcast. So you guys heard me say something about F-Boy Island. Yes, the show was finally announced. It's coming on HBO Max July 29th. It's going to be a crazy fucking summer. I could promise you that. The show is incredible. Probably going to be the best dating show ever. Probably like bigger than The Bachelor and shit, I'm pretty sure. We're going to be having the entire cast and crew on this show. Probably, the girls at some point, hopefully. And I'm just fucking hyped. So make sure you guys go check that out. F-Boy Island on HBO Max coming July 29th. And this podcast was brought to you by Mellow, the best melatonin in the world. Pesticide-free, drug-free, vegan, plant-based, puts you to sleep like a baby, 6 to 8 puffs, and you're on cloud 9. So thank you to Mellow for sponsoring this podcast. Use code DEN for 25% off your order and get free shipping over on orders over $30. Wow, that was a sloppy ad read, but I don't care. So guys, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.